Tonight, welcome back, everybody. Tonight on Celebrity Court, fugitives, fraud, and federal time. Let's see who's joining us tonight. First up, we have Tanya McNeil, 2140. Hello, everyone. Love this show. How you doing, Tanya? We got Brenda K. Welcome, Brenda K. We got Colette Davis. Welcome, Colette. We got SL Lofoye. Hello, hello. Tasia, hey, y'all. Two lawyers in a podcast. Welcome, welcome. Brian and Simone Adams, good to see that you joined us tonight. Makita King said, hey, everybody, I know it's Al. No, it was not me. It was the bailiff. Come on. Essie Stone, welcome, welcome. Colette Davis. Let's see, who else we got here? NY Mari 1010029. Welcome out. Sandra McGee, welcome. Let's see, Tafia, welcome. RQM, welcome. Christine R, welcome. Rizlan 11, welcome. Sharonia, this is me, welcome. Miss Real, welcome. Everybody, welcome. Jean Ann Gardner, welcome. Tonight's docket is stacked with scandal, everyone, and the streets are talking louder than the lawyers. Darius McCrary, Eddie Winslow from Family Matters is now wanted for more than $75,000 in unpaid child support, from sitcom son to real-life fugitive. The question here is, did family really matter? R&B singer Sammy, he was arrested for child cruelty and battery, from slow jams to court jams. How did he get here? Diddy, we're going to talk about it. Sentenced, convicted, and now officially serving time in federal prison. The king of bad boy might have finally met a judge who's better than him. Oh, speaking of bad, Adrian Peterson caught in Texas for a second DWI and weapon charge. 2 strikes in 7 months, Adrian? Really? The NFL might not stand for no future left. And last but not least, Wendy Osefo from the Real Housewives of Potomac, still screaming illegal arrest after being charged with fraud, at least 7 counts, and her husband 9 counts of fraud. The question is it injustice or just bad reality TV? All right, we're talking fame, fraud, and felony energy. And baby, the gavel is hot tonight. And speaking of hot, we have 2 of our hottest attorneys joining us. We have Shatan Turner, the civil attorney, and Sean Carter, humorist at law, joining us. Welcome, counselors.
Hey, Your Honor.
You there, Counselor Carter?
I'm here. Let's get going.
All right, court is now in session. All right, let's get it cooking. Darius McCrary, from Family Matters to felony fines. McCrary was arrested in San Diego on a Michigan warrant for over $75,000 in unpaid child support. The judge denied bail and he waived extradition. Now, Eddie Winslow out here dodging child support like Carl Winslow dodged his diet. $75,000. You couldn't just book the Lifetime Christmas movie and pay that. Let's take a look at what he's saying in the court.
I'd like to also say I'm here in special appearance.
Special appearing for who?
I'm here on special appearance.
Sir, who are you specially appearing for?
I'm specially appearing for Darius McCrary. I'm here pro per special appearance.
And when you say you were here pro per and special appearance, who were you?
I'm an authorized signatory thereof of the estate and the executor of the estate.
Whose estate?
The McCrary estate.
And your name is?
Darius. I'm the authorized signatory thereof, Darius McCrary. Based on the fact that the 50th district has completely continued to violate all of my rights, my 4th, my 5th, my 14th Amendment, my right to due process is constantly trampled. And I've figured out why, because under due process clause of the 14th Amendment, personal judgment is void if rendered by the court, which has no jurisdiction over the defendant. That's Penmore versus Neff, 95 US 714 24L ED 565, and Michigan has no jurisdiction. Before we proceed, we need to establish jurisdiction. It's imperative that we establish jurisdiction, Your Honor.
All right, let's start with you, Attorney Sean Carter. What exactly did he say, or what was he trying to say, or what was he thinking?
Your Honor, you grown, despite the beard dye. You grown. You understand. This is in living color. All right. Remember when Oswald Bates would be in prison, he'd be like, and the laxative of this brother had been told, and I know what he gets. This is sovereign citizen stuff. He's told that if he says he's doing a personal appearance, or what was it, appearance, special appearance, he thought that was a code word. So, oh, you can go, you fine. And basically, his basic argument is Michigan is not the boss of me. Yeah, it is, bro. I assume you lived in Michigan at some point. You got a child support. You got a baby in Michigan. They're the boss of you now. And the boss is saying, we want our $75,000. You gallivanting around like Urkel talking about, did I do that? Yeah, you knocked her up. Yeah, you did that. And as a result, you owe the $75,000. And I don't care if you cite, by the way, I looked up Pennoyer versus Neff because he cited a real case, had nothing to do with that. From 1877. And by the way, we don't even really acknowledge the law from 2024 around here anymore since Trump has been in office. So you know we're not doing 1887. And brother, you're going to have to pay the money or get out. Or no, not get out or stay in.
So let's go to Pennoyer versus Neff, that famous tort case where someone got hit in the head with an anvil.
No, I think that's Hadley versus Baxter. But anyway, that's the Pennoyer versus Neff is a case that says that you actually have to serve someone and you have to let them know that they're served in the case. So this is a case where they tried to serve him by mail. They basically put a notice in the newspaper saying you owe us the money. He said, I never saw the newspaper. I don't read. And I believe that this brother don't read either. So I'll give him that credit for that. But generally speaking, a child support verdict judgment is real serious. And you come in there with your special appearance nonsense, it's not going to do well for you. I'm pretty sure, and I didn't check the jails today, but he's still in there, ain't he?
I'm thinking so. Attorney Turner, help me understand what extradition mean and how does extradition work when a celebrity flees one state's child support order? Can you explain what that means?
Extradition just means you're in one place and they send you back to the place that wants to have jurisdiction over you.
So he was in New Mexico near the border.
They extradited
him back to Michigan
for the child support case.
But he lives in Los Angeles.
Yeah, but to Attorney Carter's point, they have personal jurisdiction over him in Michigan because that's where the child support order was issued. So somehow he found himself in $75,000 in arrears. He's been having a really rough time lately. I don't know if you've been following what's been going on in his personal life, but he's been involved in some questionable activities, none of which I knew had anything to do with child support, but they're very interesting as somebody who's been trying to come up with a lot of interesting theories to explain his behavior. But in this case, the Michigan child support formula has been, you put the money, you put the figures in, they churn out a number, they say this is what you owe. And then what happens after that is you pay it, unless you want to end up like Mr. McCrary. It's funny, though, he almost tried to show up as like he had a multiple personality disorder or something, right, Attorney Carter? Like he doesn't admit that he's the person who they're looking for. That's why he keeps saying special appearance over, because he's not conceding to the fact that the court actually can require him to do anything.
So let me ask you this, Attorney Carter. Can he just set up a payment plan?
He might be a little bit past that. Think about it. If you get to $75,000, that ain't the first time they called you, right?
Right. And
in fairness to him, he's been, like you said, he lives in California. He's been acting like this whole time, like y'all don't have nothing to do with me. That's happened. That lady's in Michigan, and I ain't do it. My name is McCrary, and y'all need to be wary. But the bottom line is, if you knock up somebody anywhere in the U.S., you're gonna have to pay. You can't just think about it. Otherwise, everybody be out, on spring break acting a fool.
Which they are, Attorney Carter, right?
Attorney Turner, what's the lesson for the algorithms here that are paying attention?
Wear a condom.
Ooh.
Or there are other lessons, I suppose. But yeah, don't make babies you don't want to pay for. But in this case, it goes to the point that Attorney Carter was making, which is, look, if you have a judgment issued against you, then you have two options. One is you appeal it to try to get a different result, and or you pay it. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in the predicament as Mr. McCrary. And in this case, you've said this often. I'm surprised you haven't said it as it relates to him. This is child support, right? This is satisfying an obligation for a child that would not be here, but for your, I mean, he looks like he may have been good for, 3 to 4 minutes of pleasure. You need to pay to make sure that child's taken care of.
Right. Melina NC says, didn't he pay for a trans woman reassignment surgery and not his child support? Allegedly.
I was alluding to that. There was that story that was out there about a year to 18 months ago. Yes.
Well,
hey, that makes sense to me.
Jeff God said he can't make babies with the person he's with now, so he doesn't need a condom, I guess.
That's good for him. That's exactly what you need to do. That's all you need to do from now on, Darius. Don't come back to regular women. Just stay over there.
Let's go to the jury. Let's go to our algoriters. Is Darius broke, bold, or both? Drop down in the chat. Is Darius broke, bold, or both? Broke, Hollywood checks have dried up. Bold, thought fame made him untouchable, or both. Delusion is expensive. Algoriters, drop down in the chat. Is Darius broke, bold, or both? From Family Matters to Family Court, Eddie, the only thing you're winning now is visitation by Zoom. It's very, very sad. From fatherhood failures to felony charges, Sammy's arrest has R&B fans wondering what happened to the love songs. You got me. You got it right. Case number 2 is about R&B singer Sammy. And this is when R&B turns to rage. Sammy was arrested in Georgia on charges including child cruelty, family violence battery, and fugitive status. My goodness, they stacked them all. And this one hurts. Remember, Sammy gave us I Like It, but apparently now he like court dates and mugshots. What's really going on behind this scene? Let's go to you, Attorney Turner, because you're our resident singer and songwriter and an R&B lover. How are child cruelty charges defined under Georgia law? I'm confused. Why child cruelty charges?
Well, I don't think he actually likes being in a mugshot, but that's where he found himself. So Sammy's got a problem. Sammy allegedly beats women. And the one that he beat in this circumstance was the mother of his child. And she was on Instagram. She had a whole campaign spilling the tea and telling everybody, you might think that he's a soulful lover, but in truth, he's a mean bleep beater, right? And so in this case, though, he did it in front of their child, in front of their minor child. And so that's why it's cruelty to children in the third degree, is that this child was a witness to a violent act perpetrated by Sammy. And that's how he bought himself these child cruelty charges. And as you can see in the video, he appears to have bought himself the narcissistic violent label that she accused him of having in the Instagram post.
Got it. Attorney Carter, what's the difference between family violence and general battery charges? Because that's what I'm getting confused on as well, because it seems like they stacked it on him. They actually did child cruelty, family violence, battery, and fugitive status. Right.
And so we'll take them in turn, okay? But let's look up at the difference between family violence and just general battery. The idea here is that's the same act, right? But when you commit it against a domestic partner, then the law takes it a lot more seriously. One, those are the situations that tend to escalate, right? And so, if you have a fight with a stranger, you never see them again. People who batter their lovers or spouses tend to do it over and over, and it escalates, and then it gets really, really bad. So as a result of that, the law, particularly in Georgia, takes that very seriously. In addition to whatever criminal penalties you'd have for battery against a stranger, you also usually have some counseling requirements and the firearm restrictions. All right. If you're the kind of person who puts your hands on people, we don't want you to have a gun in the house. All right, because that's obviously going to lead to bad situations. So they take it more seriously. Now, the thing about the child is, the cruelty to children is, and this totally makes sense. It's bad enough, all right, to put your hands on somebody's mother, but to do it in front of them, right? To do that kind of scarring that happens. And we know tons of people who are messed up from stuff like that. And so that's a separate offense in Georgia. We had in another case a couple months ago where, remember, the mother in that case got in trouble for beating up somebody else in front of their kids. We don't want, in Georgia, they don't want any kids to see any violence, right? In the home or from their parents, et cetera. So you can get a charge for that separately. And then his fugitive in state thing is,
what exactly is that?
He basically has a warrant for something else. I looked for it. I couldn't find what the warrant was for.
Okay, gotcha.
But he also didn't show up for some other court date. So basically they were like, fool, you don't even follow directions. All right. And so we got 3 things against you. And Sammy don't like it so much. He don't like it.
So, all right, this seems crazy to me. Now, he ended up thinking he was in an argument with his girlfriend, ended up getting charged with 3 things. Attorney Turner, what does this look like? Does he go to jail or does he get a court date? What time is he looking at if he gets found guilty on these 3 charges?
Like I said, it's looking like a whole problem for Sammy. And in truth, 3rd-degree charges are not that significant. So he's not going to have a ton of time of exposure for this one. Attorney Carter might know better than I in terms of what he's facing, but he likely will not serve jail time, I would think, for this.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, let's go to the algorithm. Algorithm, what do you think about this? Do we cancel Sammy or do we wait for the facts? Drop down in the chat. Do we cancel Sammy? We cancel because child cruelty is unforgivable, or do we wait because we don't know the full story? Drop down in the chat. Do we cancel or do we wait with regards to one of our favorite R&B singers, Sammy? Do we cancel him for child cruelty because it's unforgivable, or do we wait because we don't know the full story? Now, Sammy said he was boy too young to be in love, but apparently not too young to be in trouble. Hey, and speaking of trouble, Diddy's not just in it. Yep, y'all, guess what? He is now officially serving prison time. Let's talk about the biggest sentencing in hip-hop history. Case number 3 is Diddy. Yep, bad boy behind bars. Diddy was sentenced to 50 months in federal prison after being convicted under the Mann Act for transporting individuals across state lines for prostitution. He'll serve until May 2028. Now, let's talk about it. Diddy went from mogul to inmate faster than you can say, take that. And now, only remix he's getting is 3 square meals and lights out at 9. Let's go to you really quickly, Attorney Carter. Can prosecutor use acquitted conduct to enhance a sentence?
They can. We're going to talk about that in a couple of contexts. We have a video here from one of our colleagues, Simone Redwine. Let's take a look at that, and then because it ties into what we're going to answer there.
Legal bestie attorney Simone, and Diddy is set to be released from prison May 8th of 2028 if his full sentence is served. I break down legal cases on my YouTube channel called Girl, Is That Legal? This date already includes the time served that he's already done, and it includes any good time that could be knocked off, which is generally 15%. This is considered a violent offense because every day in court, I was there, his lawyer said, oh guys, this is just domestic violence. So in turn, Diddy is not eligible to have a year knocked off for doing the drug treatment program, and he's not eligible for the First Time Offenders First Step Act reductions. But what he can get is in the last year of his sentence, which would be around May 8th of 2027, he could be sent to a halfway house or home confinement. So in effect, the earliest that Diddy could likely come out of prison would be May 8th of 2027 because he could go to home confinement or a halfway house. Do you think that's a fair sentence? Let me know down below and subscribe to me on YouTube at Girl, Is That Legal?
All right, let's go to our 2 legal beagles that we have on our accounts. Now, is this completely true? Is this completely true that he could be out as early as, a year and 6 months?
It's going to be tough. And by the way, I actually got to listen to that to her that time. First couple times, I have to admit, I was kind of stuck on a tank top. That tank top was tanking. Let's be honest. All right, but aside from that, pray for me. Here's the thing: is that Attorney Redwine is absolutely correct. He is, because of, and this is what the question you asked, Your Honor. Does the the fact that he was not convicted of a violent crime, but all of the violence that was introduced turns out to be a bad thing for him? Because even though he's not convicted of a violent crime, the Mann Act is just prostituting, prostitutes across state lines. That can be considered for both sentencing. So that's why the judge bumped up his sentencing from 27 months to about 4 years. And it also is considered for whether you can get out with the drug treatment program or the First Step program. And the First Step program basically says if you're a nonviolent person, you committed tax evasion, something that rich white people get to do, we'll let you out a year early, go home, just hang out, enjoy yourself. But if you have these violent enhancements, Diddy has a problem with the drug thing too. In addition to having the violent enhancements, even if he argues that you shouldn't consider that, you actually, to get the drug treatment reduction, you actually have to have a known drug problem, right? Not just some stuff you said later because you got caught doing something bad, right? Everybody got a drug problem once they get on TMZ. All right, but no. It's like you actually have to have one that you've officially done. So he's not really eligible for a lot of the programs. Also, he's got the other problem of this. While he doesn't have to register when he gets out, I don't think, he is considered for the purposes of the Bureau of Prisons a sex offender. So imagine the Bureau of Prisons letting out early a guy who is a known sex offender, abuser. Where you going to send him? Right to R. Kelly's house? Right? It's like you don't really, it would look really, really bad. All right. And so, no, he's going to be there until May 8th, right, 2028.
So, Attorney Turner, tell me, if you were on Diddy's legal team, what would you be arguing right now?
If I was on Diddy's legal team, in some respect, I'd be, counting my lucky stars, because the sentence that he's being faced with right now is fairly mild considering what his exposure was when the trial first started. Right. Now, we can debate whether it's right for prosecutors and for judges to consider conduct that was presented but not convicted upon, but it is within their purview, as Attorney Carter said. So here we are. They painted themselves into a bit of a corner, in my opinion. And the reason for that is Americans in general actually have normalized domestic violence in a way that, has offended the sensibilities of most of us for a while. And so the reason they argued, as Attorney Redwine indicated, that this was just, right, domestic violence, is because that contextualized his actions somehow as being a romantic, passionate response to whatever Cassie had done before the video was recorded, instead of just being a man beating the shit out of a woman, right? And so they did that because they were trying to mitigate it and get the other charges to not be considered. They were successful with that, right? As Attorney Carter indicated, only the Mann Act charges survived, but now they have the problem that every day in the trial, they were like, he's violent, right? They were doing it to get rid of the other stuff, but now that they had a shot of having his sentence be even further reduced, they put themselves in a bit of a corner. I'm not mad at it. I think he deserves whatever he gets, and here we are.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think my personal opinion is he got off easy. If we saw how quickly that 1 year went by, I think he should just ride it out. I mean, the lawyers are going to continue to do what the lawyers do to get him paid, right? Which is try to get him out, try to find a loophole to continue to get him out. But I think he dodged a bullet. Let's go to you really quickly, Attorney Carter. Answer me this. Does this set precedent of any sorts now for other celebrity cases that could be similar to this?
No, other than I think the point that Attorney Turner made very well, which is that you do have to consider some of these things when you're, at the time that the case is going on. It looks like the lawyers are just like, look, we just got to get it not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. not realizing that part of the not guilty is going to end up giving you more time, right, on the Mann Act, which they were always going to be convicted of. There were receipts for that, etc. And I think if they had to do it over again now, they think, well, we might want to back off a little bit on this. It's just domestic violence stuff, because it's going to reduce our options. The big thing for them, though, and the real issue for them is where Diddy goes. There was a report last week that he wakes up with some other inmate with a knife to his throat.
Yeah.
Right. And so. And so here's, maybe it's not true, but here's the thing is, Diddy is in trouble if he is in a minimum or medium or maximum security prison. Remember, he's a sex offender. That's like the chomos. I mean, this is about as reprehensible on the prison scale as you get. That'll be a very long 4 years if he makes it. Right. So the most important thing for their lawyers and the things they filed before is to try to get him into a low or minimum security prison where, he'll be with people like me. Right.
How can he be a sex offender, domestic violent sex offender, and go to low security? And the other thing is, wouldn't you, if he went to medium to high, wouldn't the warden keep an eye on him, because that warden can't let anything happen to Diddy?
Really?
Too salacious.
Epstein's dead.
Huh?
Epstein's dead.
Exactly.
I think Epstein.
But Jeffrey Dahmer, right? I mean, every time Masterson got, even Tory Lanez has been stabbed up in there.
Why is R. Kelly doing fine?
Because he can sing.
Diddy can sing.
Diddy can't sing. Diddy can barely dance. Damn well Diddy can't sing. He did Kirk Franklin a rap. What's wrong with you?
Let's go to the algoriters.
I have to say one quick thing though.
Okay.
You said, why doesn't he just ride it out? And I think it's harder to ride it out when you have no baby oil. And so that is
order in the court. Turner. Order in the court. You're just nasty. They got petroleum jelly in prison.
Seriously, that's the thing. If you go to low or minimum security, you don't need that stuff. And right now he is in jail, the detention center, and it's that's Thunderdome. But I think for him the biggest thing is he could do 4 years. I took a look at where he wants to go, Fort Dix, and if he gets convicted, I'm never paying taxes again. All right, if he gets there, because that's where I'm going. All right, I can get 4 years away from my kids. All right, have nice quiet time, learn a hobby. That sounds wonderful.
Learn a trade.
Learn a trade. I can do anything in there.
All right, let's go to the algoriters. Algoriters, is Diddy's prison time justice served or public revenge? Ooh, that's an interesting question. Is Diddy's prison time justice served or public revenge? Drop down in the chat. Put justice, accountability finally caught up, or revenge, media pressure drove it. Is Diddy prison time justice served or public revenge? Drop down in the chat. Justice, accountability was finally caught up, or revenge, media pressure drove it. I don't know about that. Is that public revenge? I don't think so.
Can we argue all three?
Or both, yeah, guilty. Yeah, both. Guilty, but sensationalized. That's a good one. All right, from one fallen icon to another, Adrian Peterson proves you can lose control both on and off the field. Case number 4, Adrian Peterson hit with a DWI, weapons, and wasted chances. Peterson was arrested in Texas for his second DWI in 7 months and found with a weapon in the vehicle. Now, Adrian, my brother, 2 DUIs within 7 months and a gun. That's interesting. He went from rushing yards to rushing court dates. Somebody get him a driver and a therapist. Let's go to you, Attorney Turner. How do repeat DWIs affect sentencing under Texas law?
When they see a pattern of these types of offenses, they try to take it seriously because, I mean, we all are drivers. We're all out there. And somebody who has a repeated history of engaging in intoxicated driving is a risk to society. So Mr. Peterson, and I think we have a video showing exactly what he's capable of, has demonstrated that he's a risk.
No, I don't think we're showing that one. I think we're going to show the picture of him in the car. Was this when he got arrested?
Yeah,
he
so
was
he's
asleep. Okay, so he was asleep. It looks like he's asleep. It looks like he's asleep at a gas station.
Yeah, just like we've had with Paul Pierce a little while ago, my old boo, and another athlete, right? The issue, and I think Attorney Carter knows this inside and out, has to do with the control that the driver has while they're asleep, where the location of the keys are, where they are, and whether or not the car is on, and a few other things, which determines whether or not you're going to get dinged on DWI, even though you're not moving the car.
Attorney Carter, does the weapon charge elevate the offense to a felony?
Yeah, and here's the interesting thing about this. All right, Texas gun laws are right. If you got them, shoot it. Right. I mean, you don't have to have. You could have concealed carry. There are almost no rules at all. But you cannot have a gun in two contexts. One, while committing a crime. So now the DUI becomes a problem. If he had a gun in any other context, he'd be
that's
fine.
A crime.
Right, that's a crime, committing right to driving under the influence. And also, you can't have a gun while intoxicated in public. So they don't want you to be drunk and running around with a gun in Texas. So he's got a problem there. Otherwise, he'd have been fine. All right. It's actually the gun that's probably the thing that got him caught in the first place. Remember, he's parked at a gas station, which is hilarious to me because the engine's on. So apparently he was not only driving drunk, but he was going on a road trip. He stopped to get gas. All right. Now that's to me the first thing is, all right, if you got to go so far, you got to fill up your tank. You going too far, right? You need to just try to get, you sort of just go
drinking that much, right?
Right, you're drinking that much. But he fall asleep, and at 9:30 in the morning, I don't know what time he fell asleep. All right, he could have been there hours. All right, I actually did the math on it. An SUV can run 50 hours. So he might have been there 3 days for all we know. But eventually, and I'm like, why would you, if you're the gas station owner, why would you call the police? Why would you just knock on the thing and say, hey, you in the way of my pump? People trying to get in here and get gas, right?
Right.
Here's why, I imagine, though. He got a Glock on the front seat, on the front seat. I don't know about you, but I ain't waking up nobody. All right, with a gun. All right, particularly Adrian Peterson. He looks scary without the gun. All right, nevertheless with a whole gun. Right, so he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna let the cops handle this," and then the cops handle this, and this is why he's in trouble. So he's got double problems. He's not only now the first DUI happened in Minnesota, so you would think he only really has one strike in Texas, but no, Texas will actually include other states that have similar patterns of behavior. So if you DUI, if you do the same thing, we'll say, okay, we're going to add that. And in Texas, the rule is, you can get a misdemeanor and 6 months for the first conviction. And then the second one becomes a higher misdemeanor, but you can get up to a year in jail. And the third one is where it goes to a felony. So Adrian, you got one more night left. Enjoy yourself, brother, but that's going to be it.
I'm surprised that Attorney Turner isn't taking up for him because, Bailiff, can you show that picture of Adrian Peterson?
I did think he was cute in that picture now. That smile, not the beard, not scruffy Adrian, but
order in the court. You need some ice.
Your Honor. You know me. And you can tell he's got a strong neck and good shoulders, please.
Let's go to the Algorators. Not a strong neck and good shoulders. Hey, Algorators.
What are y'all? Wait a minute. Why you need a strong neck? I don't even want to know. I don't want to. I'm too old. I'm too old to even know why that's important.
He got a strong neck and a
good shoulders.
Algorators. Is Adrian Peterson an addict, an arrogant, or both? Let me ask you again, Algorators. Is Adrian Peterson an addict, arrogant, or both? Drop down in the chat. Addict because he needs help. Arrogant, thinks he's untouchable, or both. It's sad to watch. It's something about his behavior. I'm going to tell you this. I was reading up on this. It's something about his behavior since the 2020s or ever since 2015. He's just been going down. The last 10 years, he's gotten involved into fights. He's got like an anger management issue, a drinking issue. And it's just like what is going on with him that he is just spiraling out of control? Algorators, is Adrian Peterson an addict, arrogant, or both? An addict, he needs help. Arrogant, thinks he's untouchable, or both. is sad to watch.
We got another strong. I'm sorry.
It is sad to watch because based on this trajectory, nothing good's going to come from it. So I do think, as somebody said in there, that he probably has a problem that he's not ready to admit to. But maybe this being caught like again will be a wake-up call, because I would like to talk to him once he's sober and turns his life.
Order in my court. We will not speak on my show. This is not Tinder, Attorney Turner. All right, everybody. And finally, Potomac's favorite professor turned defendant. Wendy Osefo says her arrest was what? Illegal. But was it injustice or influencer delusion? All right, case number 5, Wendy Osefo, fraud and fake tears in Potomac. Wendy and husband Eddie Osefo were charged with multiple counts of insurance fraud. She claims police made an illegal arrest. Wendy says, this ain't Bravo. This is called the Bureau of Investigations. When you tell cops that they can't arrest you, that's not law, that's delusion, especially if you commit fraud. Attorney Carter, please tell us, what are the thresholds for proving insurance fraud, and how did she get 7 counts of fraud felony, and her husband got 9 counts, and he's the lawyer?
Well, the thing is, you can't, it's never a good excuse to be like, well, my lawyer made me do it. Even though, by the way, you would think it was, because you asked the question, what does it take to get convicted of insurance fraud? And basically it needs 3 things. 1, you got to make a claim that's false. Okay. Or we got to make a claim that's false, or I guess 2 things. And that you knew it was false and you trying to scam somebody. So if you make a mistake, you said, hey, I had a red diamond brooch and it was green or whatever, that's fine. Okay. But remember, the allegations from the police they weren't just, misnaming stuff, saying, oh, the ring is 4 carats and it's really 3. They were buying stuff, right? Keeping the receipt, taking it and then taking the stuff back and saying this was stolen. At one point, we see them in videos wearing the stuff they said was stolen, right? And by the way, it staged a whole break-in, but no ring camera footage, etc. And it looks really, really bad. That said, though, they got a shot to get away from this. They got a good lawyer. And their lawyer came in and didn't say something. I thought he was going to say, look, Your Honor, see that wig? You know she ain't right. We're pleading insanity. That's what they should have said. That's what I would have said. But this lawyer is better than me. He's attacking the constitutionality of the evidence in the search. And what he's saying is, you didn't have the right legal cause. You didn't go through the right paperwork to get the warrant to look at their financial records. You tapped in their emails. Remember, we got emails from them conspiring. They're basically saying, and because of that, basically, this is the thing we talk about, people getting off on a technicality. This is the technicality. It says, because of all that, because you didn't go through the right hoops, because you didn't name everything correctly, etc., then all the evidence you found is excluded. It is suppressed. You can't mention any of that in trial, and therefore we walking out and we taking we can't take a stuff. We're gonna leave the stuff behind, but we're gonna take behind this wig and his bad haircut, and we gone. And
so is that possible, or is that just a good defense? Because it sounds like to me, based on the counts, it's 16 counts against her.
Right.
It's 16 counts against her, and against him, I think it's like 18 counts. Is that a good enough argument, or is that just putting plausibility in the minds of people that are watching this unfold? Because I can imagine that they haven't been following this for quite some time, because this didn't just happen a couple of months ago. Right. This FYI. They've been tracking them for quite some time. And there's even allegedly evidence of them finding an email of her asking her husband, should we add more stuff? So is that possible that it could be thrown out? Or it appears to me that they would be just a tad bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? That they wouldn't be so sloppy.
Discreet's the word you're looking for. Like, why aren't they discreet? Because here's the thing. if you're going to be shady, and we do not recommend it, algoriters. However, if you are going to be shady, the last thing you want is a paper trail and video and photographic receipts. They were engaging in this like this was 1995, before social media, before Ring cameras, right? However, I will say in 1995, right, I knew people who were shady who got caught on the same ish, because the way people get caught is they believe, right, their narcissism makes them believe that they're smarter than everyone else. And so they're like, oh, I can do this and get away with it. You can't, you won't. And you'll get caught. Not everybody has a terrible mugshot and a bad wig, but everybody who gets caught ends up in trouble.
It's true.
I have a confession.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, mine's not that bad. So they lost my luggage. They lost my luggage at one of the airlines, right? So of course I was just like, oh, they're gonna pay me for my pain. I want all. I did all the, and I couldn't find some of the receipts, and so I borrowed a receipt. I just happened to borrow a receipt. It wasn't that the item wasn't there. I couldn't find the receipt. So it was so interesting because after the probe, and I'm gonna tell you, I won't tell you the insurance company. But
you already telling us too much.
Certain insurance companies will
This happened
ask
5 years ago, right, Your Honor?
Okay, there you go.
That's correct. Certain insurance companies will ask for your bank statements or your credit card statements that it was actually purchased on. And I was like, oh, yeah, but I paid cash.
Insurance investigators
everything. No, they go to the register. They go to the register that it was rung up on, and they will show whether it was cashed or whether it was a charge of a card. They are very sophisticated. So I'm going to tell you, algoriters, Attorney Turner is correct. They have an entire system, a whole tracking system, and they spend more money on loss prevention and fraud protection than you are aware of.
Mm-hmm. And to be clear, they also have legal protections the rest of us have. It don't have. It's a special crime to commit insurance fraud. All right. If you rip off your next door neighbor and steal the lawnmower, they don't have something in the books for that. Okay. But they have special stuff. Think about it. The police, if someone broke into your house, you think they come in and do an investigation and try to find out who did it and was it Pookie or Ray? They don't care. But if it's an insurance company, they will make sure they can think about it. They went and did the ninth. They went to the X degree, maybe illegally so. And I'm gonna tell you, you don't think it's a good defense. It's called basically the exclusionary rule. And what it says is when you find evidence illegally, you're the police, you didn't get a warrant, etc. Not only is that evidence excluded, you can't mention that in trial, but any of the stuff you found from that. So all the stuff, it's called the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. I think it was a case called Snow White versus Seven Dwarfs. I don't remember the name exactly, but basically it says that, and this is how the mobsters get off. You ever wonder why everybody knew that John Gotti was a mobster, but nobody could get him in jail? Because if the police had violated his rights or, had gone in without a warrant, then all the stuff they found, all the coke and all that stuff is excluded at trial. And most lawyers don't try this one, because think about it. Part of trying this is you got to admit you did it, right? You're not saying we didn't do this stuff. You're saying, oh, no, we did it. You just shouldn't have caught us. And so if you don't win that argument, then you lost, right? So it's a bold thing to do, but I'm impressed with the lawyer who did it. I wouldn't want to be him, but good for you, bro.
I want to give a shout out to Colette Davis. Colette, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it. Colette says she's really enjoying Shaitan tonight. Keep sipping, sis. Oh my God, this is all of your best. All right, let's go to the algoriters. Algoriters, what are your thoughts about Wendy Osefo? Is Wendy a victim of bad policing, or is it just bad acting? What do you think, algoriters? Is Wendy a victim of bad policing or bad acting? Drop down in the chat, put victim, she's being targeted, or actress, this is her best storyline yet. Drop down in the chat, algoriters. Is Wendy a victim of bad policing or bad acting? Victim, drop down in the chat with victim if you think she's being targeted, and put actress if you think this is the best storyline ever. Whew, this is too much. All right, this is the time of the show that we go down through the verdict. All right, jury, are you ready? Darius McCrary, guilty or not guilty of dodging responsibilities? Attorney Carter, what say you?
I'm gonna have to find Urkel guilty. Jaleel White, brother, if you hadn't messed up the show, turned it all into Urkel, he wouldn't be trying to live off residuals. Because I checked, you know what he get for a Netflix episode? About $14. He can't make enough child support payments. And now he out there claiming to be a sovereign citizen. All right, making up stuff in court. This is all you, Urkel. All right, you did this to him.
Attorney Turner, is he guilty or not guilty?
He's guilty of bad grammar, bad fake clearing, bad thinking he has a Google JD, and bad, guilty of being a deadbeat. Pay the money, figure out how to dig some ditches if you can't get paid for acting anymore, and make sure your baby's got some oatmeal.
Oh, no. All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. We're going to find Darius McCrary guilty. Guilty is charged, buddy. You got to pay your child support. If you're out here living your best life, paying for other stuff for other people, then you can pay for your child. Next up, Sammy, our R&B singer. Is he guilty or not guilty of falling from R&B grace? Attorney Turner, what say you?
He is guilty of sliding down that slide of R&B grace with baby oil. I am over all of this domestic violence that's coming up. He's guilty. He deserves whatever he gets, and he needs to go into some sort of program so that he can do better for that baby.
All right, Attorney Carter.
He's guilty. I'd love to cancel him, but I never had a subscription. So I don't know what to tell you, Sammy. I just heard about you today. But I do know this, brother. I know that you don't follow directions well. You don't show up for court dates. You hitting people in front of kids. All right. At the very least, don't make your own kids have to testify against you. All right. Now your kid got to be snitched and get stitches because you don't know how to act. Bad Sammy. Bad Sammy.
I'm the judge, Al Reynolds in Celebrity Court. We're going to find Sammy guilty. Guilty is charged, and then going to throw the tablet and say, record all of it. Yep, it just makes a whole lot of sense to give them the evidence that they need. Next up, Diddy. Is he guilty or not guilty of being his own downfall? Attorney Carter, what say you?
Yeah, we've been through this before. Diddy, I think justice was ultimately served. He got more time than he should have gotten, but less time than he could have gotten. Right. He should probably be pretty happy with that.
Attorney Turner?
Attorney Carter got it exactly right. I mean, this should play out. It should be a lesson to everybody who wants to have what appeared to be decades of misconduct. The fact that he was only found guilty of the Mann Act was a gift.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court, and we're going to find Diddy guilty and lucky. And you know what? You need to go straight to jail. G-A-I-L. All right, next up, Adrian Peterson. Is he guilty or not guilty of fumbling his legacy? Attorney Turner, what say you?
He's guilty of messing up his fineness with all this misconduct. I recommend that Adrian go get some help, find himself a good woman, and redeem himself.
Oh, Jesus. And you're that good woman, right?
Might be.
Attorney Carter, please help me here. Guilty or not guilty?
I'm sorry. I'm going to find Attorney Turner guilty of ruining my heterosexuality because I don't know what they're supposed to do with the neck and shoulders. I know I ain't been doing it. And now I got to go inside and talk to Mrs. Carter and try to explain why I've been inadequate because I don't know nothing about the neck and shoulders.
It has something to do with her neck, her back.
I don't even want to know.
That's that old song.
All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge in Celebrity Court, and we're going to find Adrian Peterson guilty of just not being smart, bro. You are a legend. And you're throwing it all down the drain because you refuse to get help. It's time for help, Adrian Peterson. This is a cry for more than just help. This is a cry for rehab. Time for you to go. Last but not least, Wendy Osefo. That's Dr. Osefo. Is she guilty or not guilty of turning real fraud into reality TV? What say you, Attorney Turner?
She's guilty of turning real misconduct into a real story where she's trying to play the victim. She appears to be guilty.
All right, Attorney Carter.
I know they stole the stuff. Here's how I know, because they can afford that expensive ass lawyer they got. The lawyer they have is a guy who represented Linda Tripp. He also represented one of the cops who got off in the Freddie Gray murder. All right, they got a high profile person. You don't get them, doing your 9-to-5 law practice. You done stole some stuff. I know it.
I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're gonna find Wendy and her husband guilty of being stupid. I mean, even if it's, let's just pretend like it's not fraud. Let's just pretend like it's not fraud. How did you get here? Right? How did you get here? You didn't get here because you did everything right. Something just ain't adding up. Something in the milk ain't clean, Osefos. I'm going to find you guilty. Your votes are your verdicts. Drop them in the comments and don't hold back, algorithms. Drop your votes in the comment. Are they guilty or not guilty? Darius McCrary, guilty or not guilty? Sammy, guilty or not guilty? Diddy, guilty or not guilty? Adrian Peterson, guilty or not guilty? And Dr. Wendy Osefo, guilty or not guilty? Your votes are your verdicts. Drop them in the comments and don't hold back. All right, everybody. Tonight's case or cases prove one thing. Fame doesn't save you from the fallout. Darius couldn't pay for his family. Sammy couldn't control his temper. Diddy couldn't control his empire. Adrian couldn't control his car. And Wendy couldn't control her narrative. Power protects, well, until it doesn't. Then all that's left is reputation, and that's what burns the fastest. Clearly, that's what we're seeing right now today in Celebrity Court. This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. I'm your judge, Al Reynolds. Court is now adjourned. Thank you all for watching.